Zone go head-to-head in the series finale between the Twins and the Dodgers. And we say welcome inside. Joe and Oral. Alana joins us in just a moment. Before we dive into this matchup, obviously the news of the day, Clayton Kershaw. It is a back strain, not an issue with the disc that he injured last season. And now the Dodgers trying to move forward for however long this is going to be.
Sounds very positive compared to last year. Maybe 3 or 4 starts, maybe a little bit longer. Clayton doesn't want a timeline. I don't think anybody does. But you remember, this team's 37 games over 500. And in Clayton's not starting, they're 20 games over 500.
Yeah, pretty good either way, and it'll be great to have him back whenever he does come back. But this team is built to be able to survive this. Can you believe we're at the 100-game mark of the season?
Not dog days of August yet, but we are at the 100-game mark, and this has been an excellent team. The Cincinnati Reds, the Big Red Machine, will be the only team with more victories in the first 100 games than this Big Blue Machine, the Los Angeles Dodgers.
So rare visit for the Twins here to Dodger Stadium, and for more, down to Alana.
Well, Joe, if you are a fan of the Minnesota Twins, you likely had to go to Angel Stadium in order to be able to see a game in person. Reason being, of course, 2 American League teams there, but they just don't play at Dodger Stadium very often. In fact, only the Tampa Bay Rays have played fewer games here at Dodger Stadium than the Minnesota Twins and 3 other American League clubs. And this is not just the regular season. This includes the playoffs as well.
And the Rays have only been around since the 1990s. The Twins go back to 1960. Hyun-Jin Ryu for the Dodgers and the ageless wonder Bartolo Colon for Minnesota. And the series opener coming up. Brought to you by Infinity. Empower the ready for his first start since June, as the Dodgers and Twins play game one in this 3-game series. Now the Twins are 49 and 48, and right in the thick of things, both in the Central and the American League, because everything's very jammed up there. And in the wild card, Paul Molitor's team just 1 game back of the second wild card spot. They have overachieved so far this season. And here is their lineup, brought to you by Honda. Brian Dozier leads it off and plays at second. The veteran Joe Mauer hits second, starts at first. The All-Star Miguel Sano is at third. Eduardo Escobar starting at short and batting cleanup. Eddie Rosario is in left. Robbie Grossman, the right fielder. Jason Castro catches. And the rookie Zach Granite bats in front of Cologne. Last time Ryu pitched, June 28th, a bruised left foot and a ball that Andrelton Simmons hit on a line back at him.
Back out there after a couple simulated games, didn't go out on rehab, but feels very much ready to go. Threw the ball very well in his simulated games, extended himself out. This is a pretty good matchup for him, because this Minnesota Twins team is a good fastball hitting club. But if he can get his curveball and his changeup working, which this year have been his 2 favorite pitches, he should do pretty well against them.
Closed captioning tonight brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. It is Ryu's first outing against Minnesota. As Alana told you, a rare meeting between these teams. First time the Twins have been here since 2005. Only the second time they've ever played at Dodger Stadium in the regular season. Only other time these teams have met up here, the 1965 World Series, won in 7 games by the Dodgers. So we're ready to go, and off we go with ball 1 from Ryu. Well, Dozier, a name that Dodger fans heard a lot about this offseason. There were a lot of rumors about him being the target for second base. He drives one to the opposite field. Yasiel Puig is there, and Ryu has the first out on his second pitch. Good to have Hyun-Jin Ryu back. Good timing to get him back with both Kershaw and McCarthy down on the same day.
He took a shot. Simmons hit it right off his foot, and it's the left foot. Not really good. Going to be tough to brace back there, but you know, if you're going to get one or the other hurt and come back, it'd rather be the back one and not the landing leg.
With 1 out and the base is empty, it's Joe Mauer. Well, the Twins got off to a really good start. They were 26 and 19 on May 27th, and with a 3-game lead in the division. That's the same division that includes the defending American League champion Indians. Everybody's favorite coming into the year to win the American League again. That's outside, and it's 1-1. But as the Indians have gotten it going some, the Twins have come back down to earth. They've gone from up 3 in the division in late May to trailing by 2.5.
But still feeling like they're in it. Trading for Jaime Garcia, who the Dodgers saw the other day with Atlanta. Now we'll probably see him again maybe in this series.
How about that? I hope he didn't get on a plane.
That would be a quick turnaround.
Started on Friday night at the Grand Slam against the Dodgers. Pitched 7 innings and 1 for Atlanta. Here's a 1-2. And Mauer strikes out swinging. So they finally were able to pull this trade through that was reported on Thursday night. And so Garcia had to fight through all these rumors that he was headed somewhere else. Still went out, pitched a great game. The deal finally gets done once they figure out some things for the physical for Inoa, the minor leaguer that the Twins send to Atlanta.
Somebody the Twins are not really worried about hurting them for a while, but they do get Garcia, and they hope that puts them over the top here. They haven't had a lot of winning ways in Minnesota in the last few years.
Del Miguel Sano with the bases empty and 2 out. Nice looking curve, strike 1.
This is a big, strong man. It was impressive to watch him take batting practice.
Runner up in the home run derby to Aaron Judge down in Miami. 1 ball and 1 strike.
He was hitting them in places here at Dodger Stadium that, like Yasiel Puig does, Cody Bellinger, but above in the bleachers, where all of a sudden there's the break midway up in the bleachers. They were hitting them in the second half of that section.
On a 1-1, slowing away for ball 2. Interleague play, one of the things that is still charming about it is seeing the teams that you only see every few years and seeing the star players on those teams. And this is kind of the headline guy for these Twins. 24-year-old Miguel Sano pounds a base hit into center. You know all about exit velocity, the new StatCast metric. Only Aaron Judge has a higher average exit velocity than Sano, and he shows off some of it there.
Sure does. You're just glad that this is a base hit. Any more elevation on this or the StatCast launch angle, that's a home run to center field.
2-out base runner against Ryu, and up comes Eduardo Escobar. Strike 1.
I've always been amazed with Ryu that he doesn't need rehab starts when he comes back from injuries. He comes right back and throwing strikes. It's almost like riding a bike for him. Such a great athlete with great rhythm.
Strike 2.
Guys come back from an injury and, you know, they'll say after the game, maybe they do so-so, or even if they do well, they still talk about, you know, I've got to get some of the rust off. I'm starting to get into it. It feels better. Something that Clayton might have to go through, but knowing Clayton, he won't need a lot of work once he's given the green light with his back.
Just misses. Ball 1. The whole key with Kershaw is that it was not, at least the initial tests have revealed, not a re-aggravation of any kind of disc issue. And in fact, it actually confirmed that the disc has continued to heal from last year when he had to miss more than 2 months. Runner at first with 2 gone, and a 1-2 that Escobar skies into short center. That is Logan Forsythe making the call, and the Twins are finished in the first. Dodgers come to bat for the first time against Bartolo Colon when you come back. For the first time tonight in this series opener against the Twins, and the starting lineup brought to you by Honda has Chris Taylor at the top of it. Then the familiar 2, 3, and 4 of Seager, Turner, and Bellinger. Yesterday's hero Logan Forsythe. Grandal catches, Peterson in center, Puig in right, Ryu batting 9. Bartolo Colon started this season with Atlanta. They released him, signed a minor league deal with the Twins. Made his first start for Minnesota last week, gave up 4 runs to the Yankees over 4 innings, and has said that he's considering retirement. And you don't blame him at 44 years old, but he says how tonight's start goes will go a long way in deciding whether or not this is it. He starts his night with a fastball, go figure, strike 1.
Throws a lot of fastballs, over 80% over the course of his career. This is his 515th start at the big leagues.
1-1. 20th year. 10th team. All started back with you with the Indians.
Yeah. Helped him break in a little bit when he was a minor leaguer, and then came up in 1997. I think it was April 4th, his first outing.
Taylor jams one into right to start the night with a single.
Bartolo gets the ball up, and Chris Taylor doesn't do too much with it other than stay inside it and get it in the air over the infield, over Mauer, and onto the outfield grass.
Signed with the Indians in 1993 when he was 20 years old. The Indians thought he was 18. They thought they're getting a little bit younger version of Bartolo than they did, but they're happy to have him regardless once he made his debut. In 1997, he pitched in his first major league game.
Through that first pitch of this game at 87 miles an hour, he broke into the big leagues throwing 97 miles an hour. That's not the only thing that has changed about Bartolo.
Seager on a bounce to second. There's 1 and 2.
I can say it because we are friends, but he's almost 100 pounds heavier than when he broke in. He worked really hard early in his career as a young man to keep his weight down and be in professional athletic shape, a work ethic that he had to really develop. Fernando Montez, the strength and conditioning coach for the Cleveland Indians at the time, worked hand in hand with Bartolo. But over the years, Bartolo has put on a few pounds every year, but has not stopped his effectiveness as a pitcher.
With the bases empty and 2 out, here's Justin Turner. And when Colon debuted as a 23-year-old in 1997, he was 185 pounds. Never was a skinny guy. He's always been, at the very least, short and stocky. One and one.
Still get it up there to 91. I'm not sure he can do that every pitch. They've said the scouting report will be fastballs at 84 all the way up to about 91. Maybe pitch at 86, 87.
Turner hits a high fly ball. Zach Granite in center field, and Colon faces the minimum in the first inning. Aw, great night to be at the ball game. No score through 1. back at Dodger Stadium. Dodgers have won 33 of their last 39 games. Best record in baseball and the second best record in the divisional era at the 100-game mark. As you talked about off of the top, only the Big Red Machine in 1970 won more games through their first 100. Eddie Rosario looks at strike one from Hyun-Jin Ryu. One and one. You were talking about Kershaw off at the top, and plenty to talk about with him and his injury. Dodgers more than survived it last year, and they find themselves in a much better position, not just in the standings, but when you look at the roster, to survive it this time around. It's fouled off, and it's 1-2. Kershaw would be one of the first guys to tell you that this team is better than last year's team, that it's one of the best groups he's ever seen. You go back to last year when Kershaw went down, the Dodgers were 8 games out of first place. When he returned 2 months later, they had a 5-game lead in the division. That's strike three to lead off the second. This time around, they have a 10.5-game lead when Kershaw hits the DL.
This time around, the offense is functioning better going into the injury. Last year, they were averaging about 4.1 runs per game. They stepped it up when he was hurt, up to about 5. They really contributed an awful lot. And this year, they're 37 games over 500 as a team. In non-Kershaw starts, they're still 20 games over 500.
With the bases empty and one out, here's Robbie Grossman. He starts him with a breaking ball for a strike.
I asked around with the coaching staff today down on the field during BP, what's the mood around the clubhouse after the news on Clayton? And they said, you know what? It's business as usual. He's a very important part of our team, but 80% of the time we go out there without him. And he's on the bench, pulling for us and doing other things. The head cheerleader in there, but the everyday guys know that they're going to be out there 80% of the time with a different starting pitcher.
1-2. We did a little simple math. In a nightmare scenario, say Kershaw were to not return, and all indications are that he will. But if he doesn't return, you're replacing Kershaw in only 12 of the final 62 games. So in 50 of the 62, the look of your team is no different. And we know that it's not played in a vacuum. That's high, and it's 2-2. And obviously bullpen usage would probably be higher because you're going to have to work more innings in the games with whoever it is that replaces Kershaw. But on a very basic level, 50 of the final 62 would be unchanged as far as a starter.
And it really shows that it is a team game. There are really important parts to a team, and Clayton will be very important for them to go deep into October and to their ultimate goal, the World Championship. And I think that would be the number one thing in everybody's mind, at the back of their mind. Not the regular season, not those 12 regular season starts, but the ultimate goal is to get him back so that if they finish this off like they should, they need him in October.
Bases empty, one out. And a 2-2 from Hyun-Jin Ryu. Full count. Last year he came back in early September and built himself up to the point where he was ready to be full throttle when October hit. And in the process of building himself up, he had an ERA barely above 1 in September. That's after missing 2 full months. Grossman to the hole at short. Seager stabs it. Long throw. 2 out. Keeps on getting better defensively.
Well, we're going to take a look at a replay here, and it's the Volkswagen replay, but Corey Seager, unbelievable footwork on this one. It looks like he's a little late, but he's taking short, choppy steps because that allows him to bend over like that and get his balance quicker and then show off the strong arm.
2 up and 2 down here in the second after the fantastic play from Corey Seager. And here is Jason Castro. Strike one. whole goal will be to have Kershaw back for a postseason run. And they're afforded that luxury with the lead they have right now in the division. It's outside and it's 1-1. It would take some kind of incredible rally and some kind of incredible tank job from the Dodgers to see a 10.5 game lead disappear to the point where they didn't make the postseason. And crazier things have happened, but still a team that believes it'll be around in October. I just hope they have Kershaw there when that time comes. Castro floats it to left. There's Chris Taylor and Hyun-Jin Ryu with a 1-2-3 second. Middle part of the order. That means Cody Bellinger coming up against Bartolo Colon on the other side of this break. Second inning for the Dodgers, and our Land Rover Performance Spotlight shows us that through his first 80 career games with a home run yesterday, Cody Bellinger more than any player in Major League history at that point.
Ridiculous accomplishment. And to think that we weren't even thinking about him contributing to this team this year, and then when he gets called up, the whole thing turned around.
And to face Bartolo Colon, who made his Major League debut, and Cody Bellinger was 2 years old. Ball one. Twice his age. 44 against 22.
That's why it's so hard to stick around in the big leagues. It's multi-generational kind of sport. You know, you don't just come up and play against guys your age or guys that are close to your age. You could get this combination.
Here comes the 1-1. That drifts outside. Ball two. Colon has been an all-star 4 times, and it is really kind of a snapshot of how incredible his career has been. When you look at when those years came. Bellinger pops it to left. Eddie Rosario is there. And there is one out in the second. Colon was an all-star for the first time when he was 25. That was in 1998 with the Indians.
Number 11.
Wasn't an all-star again until 2005 when he won Cy Young with the Angels at age 32. Then took another 8 years before he was an all-star again with Oakland in 2013 when he was 40. And again last year at the age of 43, put together kind of season that gave him cult hero status in New York. An all-star again. Ball one on Logan Forsythe.
He's one of the examples of
that a fastball is one of the hardest things to do and to hit it in sports. Because that's what he throws to major league hitters, predominantly fastballs, and he has done it his whole career. Yes, he started at 97 miles an hour and had that a long time, but now at 87, 86, 91 here and there, changing speeds with it and locating it.
Just like that.
He's just pounding that outside corner with a two-seamer with a little bit of movement. And he has all the confidence in the world that this is very hard to hit and very hard to do. He doesn't give up on it even if you hit it. He'll just keep coming at you.
2-2 on Forsythe.
In his heyday, in those big years, he made pitching look very simple.
Just upstairs, and the count goes full. When do you consider his heyday, though? Because, I mean, we just talked about the fact that he's an all-star 98, 05, 13, 16.
I should have said, instead of heyday, I should have said when it was stuff was at a different level. You know, when it was the velocity, and the only thing that changed was the location.
That pitch is pounded to center. Granite's back to run it down, shy of the track. 2 out.
So those different years when he was either having success or great success with the Cy Young year, it wasn't that the velocity or he was hurt, it was just that he wasn't hitting his spots as much. But a well-located fastball, you know, he's a great example that that's all it takes to pitch well.
Trying to face the minimum through 2. Lets it fly to Yasmani Grandal. Ball 1 with a changeup.
And it took 3 shakes to get to it.
Grandal has homered against Cologne before. Now Bartolo is in New York. It foul, and it's 1-1.
Dodgers have to really stay consistent with their approach and stay in their swing because he's trying to locate the ball mostly away to them, and then with movement can't really try to do too much with it because it's going to look big to him because it's at a lower velocity.
1-2.
There he goes, 4-seam. When you see 91 or 90 and the ball's going straight, it's a 4-seam fastball. When you see the movement and the velocity to 86 to 88, that's more the 2-seam. The small sample size tonight, I think he's going to get another start or 2 if he wants it. I mean, if he's considering retirement, I would look at him and his makeup even as a point where you could put him as a long guy in the bullpen, come in and throw strikes too.
Here he comes with another 1-2, and Grandal turns on it, sends a fly ball to right. Playable for Granite, and the Dodgers down in order in the 2nd. On to the 3rd. Beautiful night to be here. No score.
backstage Dodgers, Justin Turner stops by Pantone 294 event in Miami. Plus, Clayton Kershaw hosts his annual back-to-school bash. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers, presented by Hankook Tire, Friday after the postgame show on Sportsnet LA.
It's a little bit overcast much of the day today, but it is made for a night fit for a postcard. Like most of them are here. Hyun-Jin Ryu, sharp through 2 innings, couple of strikeouts, just 1 base runner. And his first start since late June, with the injury bug biting the rotation, with McCarthy and Kershaw both on the DL on the same day. It would be big for the Dodgers if Ryu could capture some of the form that he flashed prior to going on the DL. 8-9-1 in this inning. Zach Granite, the rookie center fielder, takes strike 1. Ryu never really settled into a consistent run where he was really good, but there were signs of him. There were starts where he was impressive. Back home with an 0-1. That's low, ball 1.
When he was asked to pitch out of the bullpen, it put a little burr in his saddle, and we saw some real good flashes of aggressiveness and a crisper fastball. The slider got tighter. It seems like he is pitching a little bit more at that level all the time. The DL stint got in the way of that, but it seems like tonight the focus is there, and he's very aggressive coming down the mound.
Ground ball to second, Logan Forsythe. 1 gone. Bartolo Colon heads to the plate. Hit a home run last year, the first of his major league career down in San Diego. What a moment it was. Now, Bob Guerin, who was the bench coach in his first 2 years in New York, claims that he had a feeling Colon was going to homer at some point in his career. Said he'd do it all the time during batting practice. And a guy that big and that strong, Bob said, was bound to run into one at one point. That's strike 1. What is more believable? That, or that Bob followed that comment by saying he thinks Rich Hill will hit one too?
That's a prediction.
Yep.
That's where he's going, huh?
That's what he's going with. He said Rich hits more BP home runs than Bartolo ever did.
Bartolo had to hit his at age 43, so Rich is 37.
3 pitches. Ryu sits him down. Yeah, he was the oldest player in Major League history to hit his very first career Major League home run.
Number 2, Brian Dozier.
I put him over the top for the All-Star voting. Or they don't get voted in, they get named.
Put him over the top to get named.
Yeah.
Thing is, though, I mean, he had a really good year.
What was he, 15-8?
343 earned run average. So the pitching earned it.
Yep.
Second time through the order, Brian Dozier lined out to right his first time and has his knees buckled here on strike 1. One and one. Maybe Bob really thinks the tweaks Rich is making to his stance are promising. That upright stance.
Got a leg kick now. He's got a nice weight shift, getting it back.
1-2.
It'll be interesting if it comes true. It'll be a fun. He might get the silent treatment just like Bartolo got when he rounded the bases there for the Mets and came back to the dugout and everybody was sitting down ignoring him.
The 1-2 offering, and Dozier looks at strike 3. Hyun-Jin Ryu locked in early. Just 1 base runner over the first 3. 4 punch outs. Back to Dodger Stadium after this.
A little further information about the Clayton Kershaw situation. Clayton nor anyone in the front office decided to talk to the media today. They didn't want to jump ahead of themselves. They said that they were going to meet as a front office contingent with the Dodgers medical staff and Dr. Watkins to find a good course of action as far as treatment is concerned. They are probably going to speak to the media tomorrow regarding the situation. Again, initial report that it's 4 to 6 weeks. The Dodgers never saying anything about a timeline. Don't want to put that pressure on themselves, guys.
All right, Alana, Jock Peterson taking ball one. Off we go here in the third. But again, the key thing that has been revealed thus far, just to reiterate, a muscle strain as opposed to something with a disc. It's an important distinction. One and one.
Completely different situation than last year, that's for sure. That you had said earlier that the tests have shown that the disc situation has actually healed and is in a better place. So that's a really good sign.
Two and one.
How comfortable the Giants must have felt last year, having one of their best first halves ever. Then getting the news that Clayton Kershaw gets hurt and the Dodgers are some 8 games behind them. And I'm sure that example can be something that Dave Roberts can, look over his shoulder and tell a guy here and there on the roster, hey, remember where the Giants were and that we caught them. So let's take nothing for granted since we have this big lead. And they have such a day-to-day approach and such a great focus right now. I don't think that will change because one of the 25 is down.
Jock Peterson leading off the third and slashing one down the left field line. Foul. Now, let's be honest. When Kershaw went down last year with the Dodgers 8 back, it didn't look good. I mean, that's stating the obvious, but it looked like less than a 50-50 chance they were going to repeat, continue that run of division titles going.
Sure did. It was pretty much gloom and doom. The offense picked it up. Other pitchers picked it up.
Peterson for a strikeout victim.
A lot of young guys came up and contributed that had never contributed before. Guys like Ross Stripling and Brock Stewart might get an opportunity here in the short term, just like they got opportunities last year to start.
Well, for whatever it's worth, Brock Stewart was taking batting practice with the starting pitchers today. Dave Roberts saying he wanted to get him a few hacks. Said, how did it go? And he said, terrible. Even though he's a former infielder in college. First time he'd swung a bat in a couple months. Yasiel Puig takes ball one.
Yasiel was out early again today with Turner Ward putting in a good half hour, 40 minutes of early batting practice, continuing to work on his swing. I think the mechanical changes they're making are making progress, because the first day we saw him out here a few days ago doing it, for those 40 minutes it was swing, 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 conversation, and it was Turner Ward doing the throwing. Today they had the pitching machine out.
Swatted over first. That'll drop in for a base hit. Puig thought about it. Now retreats. Throw to Colon off his glove, and Puig's got a one-out single.
They had the pitching machine out today, and they're working just on that. They had the two-wheel machine out, making it move in on his hands and run in on his hands, and for him to be able to stay inside it and still get the ball in the air. And that's exactly where you see that movement on the Audi pitch cast, that it ran right in off the plate, but he was able to get the bat underneath it and drive it out there to right field.
How about Big Sexy sneaking in behind Puig there to take a throw back?
He might take a moment on the mound to regain his breath.
I'd say that's likely. Here's Ryu in a sacrifice situation with the top of the order up next. Pushes it to the right side. Colon will meet him halfway. So the runner moves into scoring position, and with 2 gone, Chris Taylor comes up.
Number 3, Chris Taylor.
Opposite field single his first time to raise that batting average a touch higher. He's number 3 in the majors in the month of July. It's after a month of June where things had kind of gotten out of whack mechanically for him. Went back, watched a lot of video, identified what was going on, and it's made the necessary tweaks to get back on track. A pop fly, and it's short. It's Escobar. Dodgers leave Puig in scoring position after 3 innings, no score. LA is brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica, the new benchmark of minivans, and by Jack in the Box. Come try the new sweeter spicy barbecue bacon cheeseburger and chicken sandwich. Limited time only. In the 1965 World Series, the Minnesota Twins took the first 2 games, and then the Dodgers called on Sandy Koufax. Game 3 shutout. Yeah, to help the Dodgers eventually win that World Series, 4-3 was the MVP. Gave up just 1 run in 24 innings worked in that World Series. 2, 3, and 4 for the Twins against Sun Jin Ryu here in his scoreless 4th inning. Strike 1. It was the Dodgers' 8th year in Los Angeles. It was the Twins' 5th year in Minnesota. A move from Washington, where they were the Senators. Mauer shoots a bouncing ball that sneaks through the shift for a base hit. Leadoff single, Joe Mauer.
Joe Mauer's always been a very consistent hitter. One real powerful year with the bat where the power showed up, but he's always been a 300 hitter. Really and truly a gap-to-gap hitter, not a power hitter.
This guy is. Miguel Sano, all-star. Ringing single his first time up. Bouncing ball, this should be 2. There's 1 and 2. Seager with a great glove on a belt-high bounce that kind of took off on him.
Corey Seager has made 2 dazzling plays going to his right. One, a backhand. He threw the ball to first. This turns it into right, squaring it up by good footwork getting over there. And you're right, Joe. He had to deal with a tough hop.
So double play wipes him clean, and Escobar bats. We've talked about it before, but Chris Woodward, a guy that deserves a lot of credit for the growth in Corey Seager's defense.
He not only teaches like his way, he analyzes a guy's play. So one guy, he might be extending their stride as they break, or he might be changing their first step or their balance and their head position. Other guys, he might be shortening their strides or giving them a tip on how to spin better. It's just like a pitching coach or a hitting coach. He doesn't just sit there and teach one way. He looks at a guy's body type and what skills he has, and then he applies his knowledge to that guy. Very detailed in not only the preparation and the positioning, but in the way he works with guys and their drills and their skills.
Played 12 years in the majors as a utility man, mostly in Toronto. It's high and inside, and it's 3-1 on Escobar. But he's also with the Mets, played for the Braves, played for the Red Sox, played for the Mariners.
And as he reminds me almost daily that he got a hit off of me.
Didn't you jam him though?
Yeah, but he doesn't say that. He just says that tongue in cheek at the end.
Escobar helps Ryu out, full count.
A lot of guys, when they hit a home run off you and you run into them, you know, Old Timers Day, or run into them at other ballparks, they'll, you know, hey, I got you in my book. It's a home run. Chris is like, I got a hit.
Yeah. And then whispers the fact that you broke his bat. He loses Escobar, who is aboard here with 2 out. MLB.com app bat is your #1 mobile app for live Dodger baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Download MLB.com at bat today. The first Ryu walk keeps the inning going for Eddie Rosario. One and 0. Rosario from Puerto Rico, former top 10 prospect in their system. Got a lot of young guys that are growing up for them. On the corner for a strike. One of them expected back as soon as tomorrow. That's Byron Buxton, former top prospect in all of baseball. Their starting center fielder when he's healthy. He's been on the shelf for a while, though. Eligible to come off tomorrow. Ryu deals 1-1, and that is outside for ball 2.
If Buxton's in there, his batting average is down in the low 200s, but he brings elite speed, and speed never slumps. 16 stolen bases he would be adding to their attack, and only been caught stealing once.
An elite defense in center. Whatever first with 2 out. 3-1. 2 years ago, the Twins kind of surprised everybody by making a charge into the playoff picture. There were some high expectations going into last year, but they sputtered and had the worst record in baseball. Most losses they've had since moving to Minnesota. A pop-up. Turner over to give it a look. Out of room, full count.
Last year they were expecting great things, you know, keep moving up. I think 83 wins the year before, and then they start out 0-9. And the 0-9 start they never recovered from. And the word around the Twins is that this year they're playing like they expected to play last year.
Only a game back of the second wild card in the American League.
They're in the right division to play
That ball's driven to deep left center field. Chris Taylor's back, and it is off the wall. RBI double for Eddie Rosario, and the Twins are in front 1-0.
Rosario with gap-to-gap power, but he does have 10 home runs, and he gets very close to his 11th on this one going the opposite way. Short, compact swing, and some very strong hands that drive it almost 380 feet.
Just getting it out of here by about a foot. So the 2-out walk bites Ryu as Rosario doubles home Escobar, and up comes Robbie Grossman. One and 0.
The AL Central is up for the taking. Anybody wants to get hot here in the last 60 or so games.
Royals have charged back into it. Everybody kind of wondering when the Indians are going to finally take off. Getting back some starting pitching, though, that they've had banged up. 2-0.
The first two teams, the Indians and the Royals, should be the class of the division, especially if Kansas City doesn't unload their core players here in the next week or so.
Well, they just made a deal today in the other direction.
Oh, good. Okay.
So getting a bunch of guys from San Diego.
They're an exciting team to watch. They like to swing the bat, and they play great defense. Don't have quite as strong as a bullpen as when they made their run.
Two and two.
Yasmani got hit by the backswing right there. And Grossman apologized, but that's why he's wearing that hockey mask now. He's getting a lot more and more backswings with the hitter swinging all the way around and coming back and hitting him. Conventional mask doesn't have that protection there around the backside.
Rosario at second with 2 out and a 2-2 pitch. Full count. Jason Castro on deck. Ryu had faced just one more than the minimum through 3 2/3, but then the walk for Escobar and the double from Rosario as the Twins on the board first. We're talking about that trade Kansas City pulled today, getting a starter in Trevor Cahill from the Padres. Brandon Maurer, really nice bullpen piece. Ryan Buchter the same. Padres getting Travis Wood, a swingman from Kansas City. Matt Strom, a reliever, and then a minor leaguer. San Diego starts to unload. Little cue shot foul, and it stays full.
That 2-out walk has cost Ryu the run, but also has really cost him a lot of pitches. And the pitch count was well in control before the walk. "22 pitches this inning, as you can see, and I'd say 12 of them since the walk."
And another walk here.
Number 21, Jason Castro.
So 2 on with 2 out, and Jason Castro bats. Ryu needed only 3 pitches to get the first 2 outs of the inning. Maurer singled, Sano hit into a double play. And when you include the walk to Escobar, he's had to throw 20 pitches since then. Down the left field line, it's a fair ball, and it rolls all the way to the wall. Rosario scores. Grossman headed home. Seager's relay. They got him. They want to challenge this. emphatically saying that Grossman got his hand under the tab.
That's a beautiful relay. Chris Taylor to Corey Seager to Yasmani Grandal. The question will be, is it in time? And we're going to get another look right here. Boy, it looks like he got him on the shoulder before the fingers get in. Might be a better look. Boy, it's very close. The call on the field is out. That is in the Dodgers' corner. A lot of times then when it's close, the call comes back if they go to replay as it stands. And that looks like he's out.
Boy, based on Grossman and Rosario's reaction, I thought it was going to be a sure thing that the hand was under. They are going to challenge. But I'm with you. I think the fact that the call on the field is out, it would at least stand.
On the field is under review.
Confirmed, stand, or overturned. That's what they're looking at in New York. All the different replays and trying to do it as fast as possible.
Bill Welke, the crew chief of this group. The home plate umpire, Jim Reynolds. It is at least 2-0 on an RBI double from Jason Castro. Eddie Rosario scoring. 4 consecutive base runners with 2 outs against Hyun-Jin Ryu here in this inning.
We continue to show the replays on the big scoreboards here at the stadium, and the crowd reacts differently to each one.
Surprised it's taken this long?
Maybe they feel like the hand is over the plate and they're just trying to determine if he's touching it. It is that close.
Kind of start to get concerned the longer it goes. He's out. So the inning is over, but the Twins strike for the first 2. To the bottom of the 4th we go. To lead off the bottom of the fourth for the Dodgers. Already some nice defense tonight as we look at our Carl scam.
Went to his right twice, the backhand, then one to his waist, then a throw on the relay. He has really shown that he is a bona fide elite shortstop, not just with the bat, but the glove and the arm. And nice play by Chris Taylor to set Corey Seager up. This Carl's Cam replay of all those different plays from Seager shows why the Dodger defense is one of the best.
And he's here to lead it off against Bartolo Colon. Goes after the first pitch, strike one. There are not too many more things, not too many things more beautiful than watching a relay to the plate pulled off. 1-1. And it's one of those things that unless you're at the game, it's hard to really appreciate the full beauty of it. Kind of watching the whole thing develop, seeing the runners move at the same time.
I think that's the beauty of it, that there's both sides, the offense and the defense, are doing an awful lot of running, and it's usually, you know, the rounding of the bases and the getting into the corner or the gap by the defense, and then the setting up of the alignment of the throws, and then they're on line, and it's bang bang at the wherever we're going, second, third, home.
Colon home with a 1-2. Seager pulls it foul. Hit into a double play his first time. Colon 3 shutout innings to open his second start in a Minnesota uniform. Yankees tagged him for 4 runs on 8 hits over 4 innings in his Twins debut. Ground ball to second. Brian Dozier.
Number 10, Justin Turner.
With 1 out, here's Turner.
Bartolo with only 38 pitches. That last one was a changeup to Corey Seager. Hasn't thrown many of those.
From a tiny hillside village in the northern part of Dominican Republic. Bartolo dropped out of school when he was in 6th grade so he could help his dad at work. That's strike one on Turner. He spent much of his childhood working long days in the coffee bean fields with his dad. They'd work in the fields and then they'd go to work climbing trees to pick fruit. It's 0-2. And a lot of, obviously at this point, Colon has put on bad weight, but there is a lot of strength under it. And he says he developed it with that routine of climbing trees every day. Only Juan Marichal, more wins among Dominican-born players. Here comes his 0-2. Turner slashes it by the bag. It's a fair ball. Ricocheting to Robbie Grossman. Turner on his way to second. He's got a tag from the shortstop Escobar for out number 2.
Well, the Dodgers will take some time and take a look at this one. Justin Turner just whacked this ball down the right field line, but a beautiful throw to possibly cut him down. This ball caroms off, which helps the Twins right there. And being a left-handed thrower, you get lined up a lot easier, and it looks like they did get him.
And it's usually not a very good sign when the base runner starts walking off the field. If Turner was confident he was in there safely, probably would have stayed there.
Bellinger.
So the base is white clear, and with 2 outs, here's Bellinger. Ball 1. Mentioned those 235 career wins for Colon. He has a ball from each one of them. Something he started right at the beginning of his career, and he numbers them, commemorates them with colored pens. the date, the team, and the number win. 235. 1-2 on Bellinger. It'll be quite a collection by the time it's all done.
I think there's less than 120 people that have won over 200 games at the big league level. I don't know the exact number, but I know that number is around there.
Two and two. You guys, Colon, and you both did it with the Mets, correct?
I don't know the exact number, but I know what number I was when it happened. I was the 99th guy in baseball history. I think in this generation there's probably been a good 10 or 12 that have done it.
Bellinger's worked it full. Colon 1 strikeout, yet to walk anybody. The Dodgers no runs on 3 hits. He's back home with a 3-2. Bellinger turns on it. Liner to right center. Grossman moves over and makes the catch. Much more top spin on that ball than it normally has off of Bellinger's barrel. 4 shutout innings for Bartolo Colon. By your Southern California Toyota dealers. Get the Toyota truck of your dreams at Toyota's Summer Drive sales event. And by the Dark Tower in theaters August 4th. Branch Rickey, the Hall of Fame executive of the Dodgers, went into the Hall on this date in 1967, which was 2 years after his passing. Most famous for leading the charge in integration in baseball and bringing Jackie Robinson first and foremost into the game. Signed him in 1945. Debuted in 1947. It's also famous for creating the first farm system in baseball. Hyun-Jin Ryu back at it, down 2-0 as we open the 5th inning, and Zach Granite looks at strike 1. Rickey spent most of his career in St. Louis, and when he was with the Cardinals, they were notoriously cheap at that point. Didn't have a ton of money, didn't like to spend the money that they had. So went 2. So they couldn't pay scouts enough to discover hidden talent. They didn't have the money to sign the best players. So they basically had to take whatever players were left. And the farm system was Branch Rickey's way to develop kind of the top of the scrap heap that they picked up and use as a proving ground. 1-2.
That's where the phrase the Cardinal way to play baseball and the Dodger way to play baseball originated with Branch Rickey, and actually writing a book on all the different fundamentals that he wanted done, and the cutoffs and the relays and how to do all the different drills. Go about your day to develop players.
And there is now a published book. It's not that exact one, but it has some pieces from that Branch Rickey's Little Blue Book. It's pieces of that, and it's different pieces of speeches that he gave throughout his life. Different things he had jotted down in different journals. Granite slots one into right center. Peterson won't get there, and that's a leadoff single.
Yeah, the journals weren't just about sports. They were about literature. They were about politics. They're about a lot of different things. Just general wisdom sometimes.
He played at one point. He was a GM. He managed the St. Louis Browns, which is a different franchise from the St. Louis Cardinals. The Browns now Baltimore. He was a manager there, then shifted over to the Cardinals organization. Spent more than 2 decades there before going to Brooklyn. Colon to bunt. And Bellinger will look at second and go to first. Draw some smiles.
Ricky would write like definitions of what a leadoff hitter should be like, and what a number 2 hitter should be able to do, and what he wanted his number 4 hitters to look like. And he would actually start developing the roles of guys that they would try to train to be certain positions and certain places in the lineup.
Top of the order for the Twins, trying to add on here in the 5th inning after getting 2 in the 4th with 2 outs. Doubles from Rosario and Castro. First pitch curve sinks in, strike 1 on Dozier, who cranked 42 home runs a year ago. Right now has only 16. Word is he got a little homer happy, was trying to pull everything, trying to duplicate those numbers. He got off to a slow start. Nothing at 2.
You have that many home runs, they're going to pitch you a little different the next year too. So if you get a little big in your swing and pitchers are pitching you a little bit more to your hole with a little more respect, that's not a very good equation.
Just low, ball 1. One of the leaders of the Twins, very well liked out of Southern Miss. The runner at second and 1 out. Ryu readies for a 1-2. Got him swinging, pulling the string for out number 2.
The Great Dodger Moments coin collection presented by 76 continues on Saturday, August 12th versus the Padres. The first 40,000 fans in attendance will receive the 6th coin of the collection commemorating Sandy Koufax's perfect game. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
With 2 outs in the 5th, here's Joe Mauer. 34-year-old, former first overall pick of the Twins. Been an all-star 4 times, won an MVP in 2009, and there was a time where this guy was A-list as far as baseball superstars. All-American kid, he's from the Twin Cities. So there was no bigger star, especially in Minneapolis, in any sport, than this guy. It's outside, and it's 1-1. Started his career as a catcher. Concussion issues, has had to move to first, but very good there too. On this 1-1, he takes off of the plate for ball 2.
Went to the same high school as his manager. His manager is a Hall of Famer in 2004, Paul Molitor. Joe Mauer got a shot at being a Hall of Famer.
Granted at second, great speed, would score on a base hit, a 2-1. Ball 3.
Two-out difficulties last inning for Ryu, set up by a walk. Got saved by a nice relay play to cut down the 3rd run. And here you don't want a run to be given up with 2 outs again. It's an interesting pitch here, and if you get to 3-2, that too with the hitter on deck with all the power that Sano has.
Full count.
Pick your poison, and he decided, I'm going to pitch them both tough, even if I have to face them both. Goes with the 3-1 curveball.
Which for Ryu, along with his changeup, has been way more effective than his fastball this year. Opponent's hitting close to 400 against Ryu's fastball. Here he comes with a payoff. It's low and away, and he has to face Sano with 2 on here in the 5th.
Third baseman Miguel Sano.
1 for 2 today with a solid single to center and a ground out into a double play. Rick Honeycutt out to talk with Ryu.
Talking strategy on Sano. I'm sure they're talking about don't let him extend his arms, and if you do stay soft, make sure you keep the ball down. They've got all the data on what he hits and how hard he hits it in certain areas. If I was out there with the ball in my hand, I'd be thinking about the next hitter, even though it would load the bases. Escobar is somebody that I would rather face than Sano. So if you fall behind, it's not like you worry about walking him. I would worry about just getting out of this inning and not giving up a run.
This is the marked man in this Minnesota lineup for anybody that faces the Twins. 23 home runs this year. Top 5 in the league in runs batted in as well. Trying to break it open in the 5th. Turns on it, line to left. Chris Taylor's there, and it was a bullet, but in the right spot if you're a Dodger. Halfway home in a 2-0 game. Total Cologne and down 2-0 as we go into the bottom of the 5th. Joe Davis and Oral Hershiser, and this is a guy that came into the game with an ERA north of 8, but the Dodgers still with nothing against him.
Hey, changing speeds with his fastball, changing the movement, the two-seamer with good movement. Then he goes with the four-seamer, and he's mixed in a few change-ups to really go after our better hitters, the Turners and the Seagers. But to the most of the lineup, they've seen just the heater.
It'll be Logan Forsythe to lead off this inning. And he takes strike one. Hit it hard his first time, but right at the center fielder Granite. On this 0-1, it's outside for ball one.
93.
Ooh, digging deep.
Still got something left in the tank. You can't change speeds up if you throw every ball your hardest. And Bartolo does not do that. He varies the speeds and the movement.
Here comes with a 2-1, and Forsythe fouls it back, strike two.
87's got to feel like a changeup to most of the Dodger lineup. They're used to hitting starters that throw 93, relievers that throw 96, 97. So they're having to take it down a gear tonight.
Strike three called. Colon second, one out.
Hard to analyze how he takes a pitch like that. I have to ask Logan tomorrow what he was thinking. Was pretty much expecting fastball and pretty much going to protect against strikes.
Grandal fly to center his first time up. Fly ball right center field. Granite's back. Warning track. Wall. They've finally broken through for the Yasmani Grandal home run. His second against Colon in his career.
Jock Peterson.
So Yasmani Grandal with a solo home run to get the Dodgers on the board here in the fifth, and Jock Peterson stands in. 1-0.
Yasmani's first at bat. Bartolo starting him out with a changeup. This one he goes right after him with the heater, and Yasmani loves to hit fastballs. Didn't have to dig that out. It was a mistake slightly up.
Peterson now goes the other way. That ball is deep. At the wall. This game is tied. Back to back off Bartolo. So Grandal and Peterson hit back-to-back home runs, and the game is tied as Puig comes up and checks his swing on strike one.
Jock stays on this one. Ball running away from him. Hits it where it's pitched to left field. Yasmani hit his 14th, and Jock just hit his 10th. And this game is tied.
That's a fair ball into the right field corner. Yasiel Puig on his way to second. Wild horse rounds. Puig with a triple.
extra BP the last few days. That work is paying off. He's using the right side of the diamond, a base hit in his first at-bat on a line drive. This one he scorches down the right field line, and he is running from the get-go. He knows how fast he is, and he knows what he's doing. He's even looking back, going, I got this.
Homer, triple for the Dodgers in the blink of an eye against Cologne. And now with the pitcher's spot coming up and the go-ahead run 90 feet away, Dave Roberts pulling the trigger of Chase Utley, who has owned Bartolo Colon in his career. Ryu's night comes to an end after 5 innings. And Chase Utley, who's hitting .478 with a home run against Cologne, bats with a tying run at third, or with a go-ahead run at third. Infield comes in for Minnesota. Big Sexy against Silver Fox. Ball 1. Just to be clear, I didn't give him that nickname. It's on his baseball reference page, Joel.
You're talking about the Big Sexy?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I have another nickname for him that are the Cleveland Indian teammates when he broke in, because he was slightly overweight then, and he was Marshmallow Cologne.
Wow.
That was the locker room name.
That's a high pop fly. Not an easy play because the infielder is drawn in. Granite comes all the way in to make the catch for out number 2.
And I didn't give him the nickname Marshmallow either. There were some other teammates.
You wouldn't do that.
No. Not to a fellow pitcher.
Not carrying a name like Oral.
Exactly. I don't tease people about their names.
2 outs. Tie game. Puig at third and Chris Taylor the batter. Line drive, center field. That's a base hit, and the Dodgers have taken the lead. Chris Taylor drives home Yasiel Puig on the first pitch that Colon offers.
Chris Taylor has earned playing time. He is an integral part of the lineup. You miss him when he's not in there. And not only that, he can hit in the 5-hole, the 3-hole, wherever you want, in the leadoff hole tonight, and just attacks the first pitch. Gets it a little off the end of the bat, and that actually gives him the base hit instead of it carrying all the way in the air to center.
Dodgers came into the inning with 3 hits total. They have 4 in this inning alone. And with a runner at first and 2 gone, here's Corey Seager. Foul tip, strike 1. That's another base hit. Taylor headed to third. Dodgers at the corners now with 2 out. Comes pitching coach Neil Allen.
A couple balls hit real hard, the home run. Some others that found some holes. Yasiel Puig's was hit hard down the line. Chris Taylor's wasn't hit that bad. Not much to say to a guy that throws mostly fastballs other than you need to hit your spots a little bit more. He hasn't mixed in a breaking ball the whole game.
And the Dodgers have gone from down 2-0 to in front 3-2 with a chance for more in the span of 9 pitches. 5 hits on 9 pitches against Cologne, and now it's Turner. Turner's 1 for 2 tonight. He's now reached in 20 consecutive games with a single last inning. Thrown out trying to turn the single into a double. He's got Taylor at third. He's got Seager at first. Cologne's first one. On the hand, strike one. Hyun-Jin Ryu, no question, would have liked to have gone deeper, but he'll take some solace in knowing here that he's in position to win this game with a rally from the offense here. First and third, 2 out. The 0-1. Turner hits a high fly ball to right center field. Grossman has room, and the inning is over. But lightning strikes, and the Dodgers take a 3-2 lead in the span of 9 pitches. They get back-to-back home runs from Grandal and Peterson. And then with 2 outs, Chris Taylor delivers an RBI single to put them in front after 5.
Later, Will Ireton talking to Turner Ward in a 3-2 game here in the top of the 6th inning. Kenta Maeda making the start tomorrow. Time now for our T-Mobile Unlimited Baseball break. A couple of moves today, certainly 6 overall because Clayton Kershaw and Brandon McCarthy on the disabled list. Clayton Kershaw, of course, with that lower back strain. McCarthy with the blister. That is retroactive to July 21st. Again, Kenta Maeda starting tomorrow in place of Brandon McCarthy. Adrian Gonzalez continuing to pick up the baseball activity. Probably set to go out on a rehab assignment pretty soon, guys.
All right, Alana, that's good news. Who's in, who's out? Grant Dayton replacing Hyun-Jin Ryu and trying to protect a 3-2 lead.
Grant Dayton has had plenty of rest, only pitched against Atlanta, 19 pitches in the last 7 days, so I'm sure he's itching to be back out there.
Against the middle part of the Twins order, that's Escobar looking at a first pitch breaking ball for a strike. Fouled off, 0-2. Alana mentioned Gonzalez ramping things up as far as the baseball activity. He was taking ground balls at first today. He's been taking consistent batting practice. And it seems like things healing up maybe even a little faster than he had expected.
And talking to him today, he felt like, I feel like I'm in spring training. The fact that you have 6-8 hours to get all your work done compared to the short time frame of when you're in the regular season of here's BP, here's maybe a little infield practice, come in, get some work in the cage, get your work done by the trainers to prep you, and then get back out there for the game. He's got all day to do his work.
Fastball buzzes inside, and it's 2-2. High fly ball to center. Jock Peterson is there. And Escobar's the first out of the 6.
Left fielder Eddie Rosario.
Eddie Rosario started the scoring with a double in the 4th inning. Twins added 1 in that inning and a double from Castro, both against Hyun-Jin Ryu, but the Dodgers answering back with a 3-run 5th. Joe's bunt takes ball 1. Debuted a couple years ago and homered on the very first pitch that he saw. The history of baseball, the 29th man to do that. Bases empty, 1 gone. Here's a 1-0 to him. Ball 2.
Big shutdown inning for Grant Dayton. Momentum was going Minnesota's way. They captured it back. Trying to keep it right here. The crowd is definitely involved as the wave goes around the stadium. Woken up by Yasmani and Jock and Puig's triple.
Here comes a 2-1. Driven to the opposite field. Back goes Taylor. Running out of room. It's gone. And the game is tied on Rosario's 11th home run of the year.
His last at bat, he just missed a home run out there by about a foot or two. This one, he hits about 6-7 feet further, and it gets the whole way out of here. Almost in the exact same spot. The 375 mark to Chris's left is where the double was.
And so Hyun-Jin Ryu will have to settle for no decision in this game as Dayton promptly allows the tying run. And with 1 out, Robbie Grossman bunts it towards third. Turner charges, can't get it with a bare hand, and Grossman has a bunt single.
Grossman runs well, and that was a really smart play to get that bunt down. Got the right angle, maybe a little too firm, but as fast as he runs, it was going to be a very hard play for Turner.
Middle part of this 10-game homestand. The Giants come to town to wrap it up this weekend. Go to Dodgers.com/tickets for more. And Giants at 38-62. Those 62 losses are tied with the Phillies for the most in the majors. Dodgers lead them by 30.5 games. 1-0 on Castro. Way it lines up right now, the Dodgers would miss Madison Bumgarner. Although the Giants do have an off day on Thursday where they could move Bumgarner up. Right now it's slated to be Moore, Block, and Cueto in the 3 games. Castro laid on a fastball, and it's 1-1.
Dodgers are glad to welcome anybody here to Dodger Stadium. They're the only team in the big leagues with 40-some wins at home. They have 41. The next closest is Arizona with 34 wins at home.
20 of their last 23 here. Josh Fields. Twins, though, have been one of the best road teams in baseball this year. 26-17 away from Minnesota. Dayton's 1-1, and Castro takes ball 2. Grossman at first with 1 out, and Dayton to the plate with a 2-1 pitch. 2-2.
Grant needs to hit his spots. I say that about all pitchers, but especially when you are backed into the corner of just having your fastball for a strike, you've got to be more precise. He's attempted to show the breaking ball, but really only thrown for a strike once.
It's a great helmet.
Pine tar buildup.
Like an old Craig Biggio model. And he got shiny clean at the plate. See if he runs after the back-to-back pickoff throws. He doesn't. Castro cranks one to deep right. Puig won't get there. Bounces off the wall. Grossman headed home. Here's Forsythe's relay. It'll go back to third, with Grossman changing his mind at the last moment. A ringing double from Castro, and they're at second and third with 1 out.
Center fielder Zach Brandon.
A high fastball that he catches up to. Some outstanding corner defense being played by the outfield. Chris Taylor and Yasiel Puig getting these balls in a hurry, and I'll tell you what, they hold him up. Gene Glenn over there at third, reminded of the last time the Dodgers did a very neat relay.
Grant Dayton ineffective, gives up the tying home run, and now runners at second and third with 1 out as the Twins try to answer right back.
And your attention, please. Now pitching.
jalapeno double cheeseburger, only $2.49 at Carl's Jr. Back at Dodger Stadium, where the Twins have tied the game on a home run from Eddie Rosario, and with runners at second and third, Josh Fields comes in.
Josh Fields, an outstanding arm. You know about his mid-90s fastball, but he's one of 3 pitchers on the Dodgers that have a 17-mile-an-hour differential between their fastball and their curve. The other one, Kenta Maeda, and the other one, Clayton Kershaw. But he can really change speeds, and when he gets location of that curveball, he can be very tough on any hitter.
Very good in July for Josh Fields after a rough month of June that saw him sent down for a short period of time. Second and third, 1 out, and the 8-hitter Zach Granite. Ball 1. Granite was hitting .361, AAA Rochester at the time of his call-up. Was leading the International League. Now in his 12th game in the majors, and a big spot here in the 6th on 1-0. He takes ball 2. The 2-0. 3 balls and no strikes.
Polanco on deck. Pretty easy guy to strike out. Left side, 185 at bats. 30 punch outs. Josh's stuff, that's somebody that you wouldn't mind walking the bases loaded.
That's a strike, 3-1, and is 1 for his last 29. Polanco
hitting .232 from the left side, but yeah, in a big slump.
Single from Grossman, double from Castro, and now a 3-1 pitch to Granite is outside, and they're loaded up. And that was a move by Paul Molitor to try and get him to be extra careful. They pull Polanco back. And instead we'll send Max Kepler up there. Only out of the lineup today because he's not very good against left-handed pitching, but with the right hander on the mound, Molitor pulling the trigger of using one of the game's best young hitters.
Pitch hitter number 26, Max Kepler.
Kepler hitting above 300 in July after he got off to a bit of a slow start. Facing Fields with the bases loaded and a tie game in the 6th. Starts him with a curve, ball 1.
You got to decide what kind of out you're going for. That determines whether you're going to pitch down and look for the double play, or you're going to pitch up and look for the pop-up or the swing and miss.
Got him swinging with a fastball, and it's 1-1.
Josh's strength is to pitch up in the strike zone, and especially to left-handed hitters with long arms, trying to get it by him up and in. He throws the curveball, that would be the pitch looking for the ground ball. The fastball up, looking for the pop-up.
Back to the fastball up and gets ahead 1-2. After Kepler, it'll be Dozier. Fields trying to clean up what's left behind by Grant Dayton. Bases loaded in the 6th and a 1-2. He struck him out with 96.
It's time now for the Morongo slow-mo cam, and that's anything but Josh Fields' fastball, 96 miles an hour. Kepler understanding that's what he's probably going to go with. Shortened up the last couple swings, but still couldn't catch up to it. Huge strikeout for the Dodgers.
Not out of the woods yet, though. Here comes Brian Dozier. With nowhere to put him. 0 for 3 in this one, but he's been the Twins' hottest hitter since the All-Star break. 351 over a 9-game hitting streak. A fastball down the middle for a strike. Twins with 2 in the 4th. Dodgers taking the lead with a 3-run 5th. Minnesota answers back with a solo home run from Eddie Rosario. Fields trying to get out of a bases loaded jam. Breaking ball hit in the air to right. Yasiel Puig running over to the corner. He's got it. Yasiel Puig runs it down to help preserve the tie. And we go to the bottom of the 6th, locked at 3. Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. The Dodgers trying to continue this major league record run. They've won 46 games in a row when they felt a lead at any point. They had a lead in this one after 5 innings at 3-2. So trying to extend it to 47 games in a row where they win once holding a lead. Max Kepler, after pinch hitting, stays in and plays right. And Buddy Boshears replaces Bartolo Colon.
Boshears pitched yesterday. He's pitched a couple times this week. They lost to the Tigers yesterday and flew out here to start this 8-game road trip for the Twins on the West Coast. That record the Dodgers are continuing to extend says a lot about the Dodger bullpen, which faltered a little bit right there, but you don't win that many games in a row after taking a lead at any point and not have an outstanding bullpen.
Twins used 6 relievers in that game yesterday, and it was, by the way, on getaway day, the longest game in Twins franchise history. A 9-inning game that went 4 hours and 21 minutes. Leading off the 6th, Cody Bellinger. Ball 1. Oh for 2 tonight. Crushed a line drive his last time, but it had top spinning action to it. 2-0. He's a master backspinner of the baseball, not like Justin Turner. The ball carries farther when you do that. See if he gets one to drive on 2-0. Off the end of the bat, 2-1. Nicely placed by Boshiers. Bellinger got stronger early on in his pro career, and he also altered his bat path some, altered his swing with the intent of creating that backspin. He went from a guy that was far from any kind of a power hitter in high school, in fact just a handful of home runs. Same thing early on in his pro career, to the top power prospect in baseball, and now, as Oral told you off for the top tonight, more home runs than any player in history through 80 games. A curve, and it's 2-2. Full count. Cody Bellinger leading off the sixth. And striking out on a sharp breaking ball.
Second base, Logan Forsythe.
He misses it, but it's not really fooled by the speed. He's on it. It just gets under his bat.
So one away in the sixth, and up comes Logan Forsythe. Hero yesterday with a 10th inning single. Dodgers' 7th walk-off win of the year. That's the most in baseball. And remarkably, Forsythe became the first guy to have 2. There were 6 different heroes in the first 6 walk-off wins. Was fooled there, and it's 1-1. Two and one. Boshiers 29. He's from Huntsville, Alabama. In fact, he's the second Huntsville, Alabama native to pitch in this inning. Grant Dayton is also from there.
Little of the sting and the energy from the crowd taken out from Rosario's home run. In-house sound effects trying to get him going a little bit.
Coming inside with a 2-2, and Forsythe taking strike 3. So Boshiers strikes out the first 2 that he sees in the 6th. With the bases empty, it'll be Yasmani Grandal, and we take it slow-mo with Kona looking back at his home run.
Well, that swing right there, pulled home run, and I'll tell you what, he had a partner in that inning. That was Jock Peterson, and he went the opposite way. Jock feels like he got it. Yasmani knew he got his. And that's been the most exciting part of the Dodger game so far.
Left-handed pitcher, so Grandal flips around and bats right-handed, swinging through strike 1. Other side of the plate, the more powerful of the 2 for him. Out of his 14 home runs this year, 12 have come from the left side. That is in significantly more at-bats from that side. Boshiers deals 1-1. Strike two.
Battle of the bullpens. The Dodgers have a huge advantage. Minnesota's has been pretty weak this year. The Dodgers the #1 bullpen in the National League.
Two and two.
A very nice crowd for a Monday night.
Oh man, it's been great. It's really rocking in here during the 3-run fifth. Down swinging, and Boshiers with a 1-2-3-6. On to the 7th and a tie game.
In this ball game and has been absolutely tremendous, not only offensively but defensively for the Dodgers this season. Of course, what he does off the field equally as admirable. Justin Turner was the Dodgers recipient for the Heart and Hustle Award, given to one player from every single team around the league as far as active players are concerned, who demonstrated a passion for the game and best embody the values and spirit of the game. The legendary pitcher for the Dodgers, Don Newcomb, and of course manager Dave Roberts earlier today before the game presenting Justin Turner with his team award. Now, one final winner will be announced in November in New York City as far as the one winner from all 30 teams. It's been a good couple weeks for Turner, guys.
For sure, and he's still trying to get over that bronchitis, though. Not a whole lot better today. He's been in the lineup back-to-back days with it after Dave Roberts gave him Saturday off. Started feeling it while the team was in Chicago, and then that long plane ride with the 3 a.m. arrival and game that followed the next night, that kind of finished him off. You know how it goes. You start to feel something. You need a good night's sleep to beat it. And he got the opposite. Joe Mauer leads off the 7th. Looks at strike one from Josh Fields.
Those cross-country flights are another hurdle that West Coast teams, East Coast teams have to fight through, especially the Dodgers, all the travel they do. It does break up about 7 or 8 or 10 of your nights of sleep that you normally would get if you were in the middle of the country.
Bauer chops one to second. There's Logan Forsythe. One out. You were the pitching coach in Texas. Is it significantly easier? Like, do you notice a difference in the travel when you're not on the coast?
Yeah, you do notice it there, and then the best places are like when I played in Cleveland for 3 years. The travel was so easy there in the Central. But yeah, the West Coast teams especially are a lot harder, especially the time changes when you're jumping 3 time zones. That's the hard part.
Miguel Sano coming up here. Dodgers and Twins in a 3-3 game. And boy, it seemed like for a while there Bartolo Colon was going to mow right through the Dodgers, and they finally jump on him, but the bullpen gives up a run, and here we are tied again.
Yeah, the 2 starting pitchers looked like they were really going to have a battle, and then the 3rd time around in the order, both of them started to get hit. Colon for sure there powerfully, and Ryu kind of set the table a little bit for the Twins, and they started to hit him around. And now we got a battle of the pens.
But big Miguel Sano here with the bases empty and 1 out. Oh, that got him on the hand.
That's the last player the Twins need to see go down. They just traded for Jaime Garcia to improve their pitching. They're a little bit out of first place in the wild card race, and he gets hit right on the bottom of the hand.
So many little bones in there.
You hear about the Hammett bone, the most popular bone down there that gets hurt. Smiling.
So he's on with 1 out. And Eduardo Escobar comes up. Starts him with a curve and gets ahead. Escobar opened his career with the White Sox and then was traded to the Twins for Francisco Liriano. Lately, he's taken the bulk of the duties at short with Polanco's struggles there. Climbs the ladder for this one. Turner or Seager? It'll be Seager, 2 out. Eddie Rosario coming up, and he doubled off the top of the wall to drive in a run in the 4th inning. Missed getting out of here by about a foot. And his next time up, almost the same exact spot in the park, just a foot higher.
With the same, almost the same pitch too, off of 2 lefties, high fastballs, middle away. Try a different location.
Well, one step in the right direction is that it's a different handedness coming at him. But he digs it out, sends it to left center. Chris Taylor has to play it on a bounce, and it gets by him. The Twins will take the lead as Sano comes in to score. One of the first times you've seen Chris Taylor misplay a ball in the outfield in his first year out there.
This is slicing. Chris will tell you later that he will make this play in the future, but he gets caught in between. Okay, I'll play it on 1 hop. Now he ends up too close to it, and it gets a very hard carom off the turf. A rare misstep from a guy who has played very well all over the diamond.
And so the Twins back in front 4-3. And the former San Francisco Giant, A-Ray Adrianza, comes up. They ruled that a straight double with an RBI for Rosario. So 2 doubles and a home run for him tonight. Bunted foul, 0-1. They got Adrianza thinking that he would be a nice defensive player coming late in games, but he's done nothing but hit since arrived and is sharing time at short now with Eduardo Escobar. And again, Polanco starting to really fade back as far as his playing time there. 1-1. Ball 2.
Now that string of 46 wins in a row when the Dodgers have held the lead at some point in the game is at risk.
Two balls and 2 strikes.
Twins have been very good this year in close ball games. One-run games have really held their record together.
That is Edward Paredes getting ready for what would be his major league debut. Full count. Field stage, Rianza with a payoff, and he hits it foul.
Big run out there at second base. You lose the lead, but keeping it to 1 is quite manageable with this Dodger offense. Any one of them can take the ball out of the yard from 1 through 8. They have a tendency to score a lot of runs here at home, averaging over 5 runs a game this year.
Rosario at second with a go-ahead double. Adrianza hits it sky high in the infield. Logan Forsythe with the call and the catch. Where the Twins get a run against the Dodger bullpen for a second consecutive inning and lead 4-3 as we stretch.
It's time for the 7th-inning stretch. Presented by Coca-Cola.
It's brought to you by 76. 2 more in this series. An off day Thursday, and then the Giants come in over the weekend. First time the Dodgers will have seen them since May. Ira Adrianza stays in. He'll play shortstop. And Matt Belisle, the 37-year-old, 14-year Major League veteran, is on to face Jock Peterson.
A lot of time with Washington, was a spring training invitee, non-roster. With this Twins team now, really just kind of hanging on. They're hoping his veteran status, maybe he'd figure something out here down the stretch.
Mentioned his time with Washington. He was one of their best relievers last year. With an ERA around 5 through a full season with the Twins thus far. Strike in the corner to Peterson. It's also pitched for Cincinnati. A lot of time in the division with Colorado. Also a year with St. Louis. Here's the 0-1. That's strike 2.
In 2012 appeared in 80 games with the Rockies, a franchise record.
Peterson tomahawks a bouncer at second. Dozier with a fantastic play and a dig from Mauer. All around impressive, and this is one of the phases of the game where the Twins have stood out all year.
Dozier makes an amazing play because if he runs through that with the back end, by the time he regains his balance, it'd be too late to get Peterson. He does a pop-up slide, and in the midst of that impact with the ground, keeps the glove steady enough to web it and get it over there.
So 1 out, and the base is empty for Puig. For the second time in 3 days, early work with Turner Ward, and in both cases has paid it off with a nice night. Fouls off the first one from Belisle. Singled his first time, hit his first triple of the year his last time up, and scored what was at that point the go-ahead run. That was in the 5th. The Twins getting 1 in the 6th and 1 in the 7th to retake the lead. Kike Hernandez has stepped into the on-deck circle. 1-1. Puig's average above 250. 18 home runs. Gets under this one. Dozier settles under it. Kept on drifting as that ball kept on flying towards right. 2 up and 2 down. So it'll be Hernandez with 2 out. Hot lately, but mostly against left-handed pitchers. Strike 1. Dave Roberts with a short bench right now because of Trace Thompson getting sent down, and went early to Chase Utley in this one. The only other option off of the bench is Austin Barnes, his other catcher. Perfectly placed, 0-2.
The good fastball, not much movement as we saw from Bartolo Colon. Firm and on that outside edge, and he's got that nice 12-6 tight curveball. That's what it looks like he wants to throw here.
That does to get Hernandez as part of a 1-2-3-7. Bullpen perfect so far from Minnesota, and the Twins lead at 4-3. Sportsnet LA is brought to you by BMW. See a Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers or visit SoCalBMW.com. And by Jack in the Box. Come try the new sweeter spicy barbecue bacon cheeseburger and chicken sandwich. Limited time only. What a cool moment we're about to see. Edward Paredes, 30 years old, will turn 31 at the end of September. He's about to make his major league debut. This is backstage Dodgers footage from earlier today. Him getting the call up from Oklahoma City. Arriving at Dodger Stadium this afternoon. And after a long career in the minors, more than 11 seasons, here he is on a major league mound for the first time.
The scouting report on his slider that it is really big and really sharp. And watching him warm up, it was impressive.
Faces Jason Castro and whips in ball one. Formerly in the Mariners organization, they signed him out of the Dominican Republic. Debuted in their pro system when he was 19. Right back in 2006. The Mariners released him in 2011. There's a strike, 1-1. Spent the next 2 years exclusively pitching in the Dominican Winter League. So it wasn't an affiliated ball. Indians gave him a shot in 2013. 6 games at the AA level. They released him. So then it was on to independent ball. A pop up. First batter that he faces is Jason Castro, and he flies out to left. So a couple of years in independent baseball. York, Pennsylvania, the York Revolution. Going back and forth there during the summer, back to the Dominican in the Winter League in his off seasons. Angels gave him an opportunity last year, and he was really good in AA, but just that 1 year with the Angels. Dodgers took him in the minor league version of the Rule 5 draft. Started off in AA Tulsa, good numbers there, great numbers in Oklahoma City, and earning a call up to make his debut. Strike one on Zach Granite. Quickly 0-2.
He's flashing a fastball around 92 and a slider around 79 to 81, and it is late and tight, and he can break it in a big way. First pitch in the big leagues was the ball. That was his fastball. His first strike in the big leagues was that slider.
1-2. 6 games at Oklahoma City, went 8 1/3 and didn't allow a run. Love seeing guys that earn it, get the opportunity. That's low, and it's 2-2.
Nice location. If you're going to miss down there.
So many instances where you see guys do really well in the minors, but there's just not an opportunity that opens above them. Blocked at a position. That's ripped to first, caught by Bellinger. 2 up and 2 down. And then, of course, I'm sure the fear becomes, okay, I'm called up, but am I going to get to pitch? You see some guys who technically get called up, but then never play in the majors. They just wear the uniform for a game or two and get sent back down and never do get another opportunity.
Well, he didn't have to go through those anxious moments. He arrived today, and he's in there.
And now facing Max Kepler. Sings in strike one.
A nice little placement by Dave Roberts to bring him in here. Face 3 lefties to start the inning.
But in a 1-run game, this is a pretty high leverage spot for him. 1-1. Been a lot of talk about the Dodgers looking for left-handed relief help in the trade market. A spot they want to address, and kind of an open tryout here for Paredes to show what he can do from the left side. Kepler on the ground to third, and Paredes in his major league debut works a 1-2-3 inning with a little help from his defense at the corners.
Sportsnet Dodgers brought to you by your Southern California Nissan dealers. John Hartung, Jerry Hairston Jr., Ned Colletti breaking this one down. Hopefully the Dodgers can have a bit of a late inning rally as they've done so many times this year, guys.
They got their 7th walk-off win of the season yesterday and trying to create some late inning drama again in this one. Taylor Rogers has been a nice find for the Twins in the bullpen, working the 8th inning for them with Brandon Kinsler handling the 9th so well. He's an all-star at the back end, but this has been the setup man.
Fastball, curveball change, and he will come at you. He's throwing strikes this year and doing really well. Against right-handed batters, you will primarily see the fastball almost 70% of the time, and the secondary pitch mainly will be the curveball.
Top of the order for the Dodgers. Taylor, Seager, Turner coming up. And Rogers pours in a strike.
It's go time for the Dodger offense.
On an 0-1. Taylor takes inside ball one. Trying to atone for his misplay in left field that led to the go-ahead run in the 7th inning. The 1-1 pitch. Fouled off. Strike two. Lately, he has looked more than serviceable in the outfield. He's looked really good. The ball bouncing over his head on Eddie Rosario's double, allowing Sano to score. Fouls it back. We'll do it again.
It's always a story when a guy who's gone through position changes makes a play like that, but that's a ball that could fool almost anybody, and you see that with veteran outfielders. They'll get fooled once or twice a year in a bad way in a key situation. I don't think it's anything for Chris Taylor or the Dodgers to panic on, oh, he's not going to be able to play it. I think he plays left field really well.
Good take here, 2-2.
Earlier in the game, he got into the corner really in a hurry on the double and got the feed into Corey Seager. They made the relay, executed it perfectly, and got the runner down at home.
Leads the team in assists from out there. Leading off the 8th inning. Hitting a ground ball, base hit into center. Third hit of the night for Chris Taylor, and the Dodgers have the tying run aboard.
He surely can't take the bat out of the lineup, and that's the reason that he got the opportunities in center field, in left field. And the bat continues to stay hot, and the glove is an exceptional one to have out there. Just one little glitch tonight.
So Seager, representing the go-ahead run, stands in with nobody out in the 8th. Got him with his first pitch breaking ball, strike one.
No matter how loud the crowd, as we take a glance at the bullpen now with Raven and Kenley Jansen up, of course, in case they get two. Josh Raven getting ready in case the score stays the same, or maybe if it's tied.
Outside, ball one.
I love the mannerisms and the looks in all the Dodger hitters, no matter how loud Dodger Stadium gets or on the road, the intensity of the road games, how big the moment. It just seems like every at-bat is the same. It's a professional at-bat. They're calm. They're locked in. No difference between a tie game at-bat in the 9th or an at-bat where they were up 12-3 and they're just playing and obliterating people offensively.
Twins with single runs in the 6th and the 7th against the Dodger bullpen. Taylor at first. A 1-1 to Seager. Swing and a miss, strike two. One-two on the way, and Seager strikes out swinging. 3 swings, 3 misses, all at breaking balls. 1 out.
Rogers throws that sweeping slider or curve. You can call it either one. It does have an extra gear to it. It's a little bigger than most.
Now the right-handed batting Justin Turner.
If he decides to throw that same pitch to Justin coming into him, you'll see a fly ball down the left field line, I would think. Hopefully it'll have the distance to get out of here.
And hopefully it'd stay fair in that case.
It's about the only place they'll be able to hit it.
Taylor Rogers on the mound right now for Minnesota. He's a twin. His right-handed brother, literally a twin, not just a Minnesota twin. Right-handed brother pitches in the Giant system. The lefty home with the first one. Turner checks his swing on a pitch that was up. But they say that he offered, and it's 0-1. Tying run at first. 1 out in the 8th. The 0-1. Strike 2.
Gonna need a new piece of lumber. There's a foul ball at the end of the bat. Split it.
Best 2-strike hitter in baseball this year. Let's talk about how he has just stopped caring about fouling off pitches. When he does, not a big deal if he just misses one. After all, he says that's the point. Stay alive until you get one that you can drive. The runner at first and one out. Here's an 0-2 to Turner. That's a base hit to left. First and second with one out. Tying run into scoring position. Cody Bellinger to the plate.
Taylor Rogers sticking with the heater against Justin Turner, and Justin gets on top of this one. They go up in the strike zone, just about a little bit above belled high. Justin does a nice job hitting the line drive. They stayed away from that big breaking ball, keeping Justin more in the line drive mode, not in the power arching swing mode.
Bellinger 0 for 3 in this one. Big spot here in the 8th inning. Strike one, chases one that was low.
Cody's got to believe that that's what was going to be the first pitch, guessing it and getting it, but it was in a tough place to hit. After you watch a great hitter like Corey Seager get breaking balls, you know Belly's probably going to get some too.
Taylor at second and Turner at first. Here comes an 0-1. Bellinger turns on it down the right field line, but foul. Home run distance in that part of the park. 0-2.
The bat just arrives a little early. Just out in front of a little bit, and that's why Cody is shaking at it. It's like, I am all over that. He hung it right there. I'm just early.
See if the kid can make the adjustment. Rogers ready for the 0-2. High fly ball to center field. Granite's back. Still going. Over his head and gone! Cody Bellinger puts the Dodgers in front. Strike one on Forsythe.
A breaking ball. Who makes the adjustment? Cody does. He stays back long enough not to pull it foul, but to hit it straight away center. He didn't bat flip. He carried his bat down to the first base coaching box, watching it all the way. How about those first 81 games?
Not bad.
8 more games.
And the roommates, Chris Taylor and Cody Bellinger. One of them started the rally. The other one put the exclamation on it. Forsythe down on strikes, 2 gone.
Came into the game with the most home runs by any player in Major League history in their first 80 games with 27. That was his 28th.
Kenley Jansen with a very pointed interest in this one. (6-4) Dodgers in the 8th inning. Yasmani Grandal the batter. One and 0.
81 games has a little interesting ring to it compared to 162.
Yeah, you trying to do a pace thing?
Yeah, why don't you just multiply it out?
That'd be 56.
Wow.
Two and 0. Looking ahead to the 9th inning, Twins will have the top of the order coming up as Kenley Jansen tries to bounce back from his first blown save of the year yesterday. Three and oh. Dozier will lead it off, then it'll be Mauer, then Sano. So it will not be easy for Kenley Jansen. Strike one. Two. Grandal strikes out swinging, and the inning comes to a close. Cody Bellinger, a 3-run home run. The Dodgers from down 1 to up 2 on his 28th of the season. Enter Kenley Jansen. By Mercedes-Benz, Jose Barrios, the fantastic young pitcher for the Twins, counters Kenta Maeda, who is in the rotation again with Brandon McCarthy on the disabled list. That was supposed to be McCarthy's spot, but Maeda will make the start instead. 28 home runs through his first 80 career games. That is the most in Major League history.
Pretty good list right there. Mr. McCovey and Mr. Pujols there at the bottom.
Right now it has the Dodgers in front 6-4 as Kenley Jansen comes on, trying to make yesterday a distant memory. His first blown save since last year. Brian Dozier at the top of the Twins order to lead it off. Strike one. Probably the last chance for Dozier to extend his hitting streak. He's behind 0-2. 9-game hitting streak to open the second half for Dozier. He and the Twins in danger of seeing this one disappear. Jansen ready for an 0-2. A pop up. This should be playable. It is. 1 out. Come to the Dodger game Wednesday when the Dodgers host the Twins in the finale. First 40,000 in attendance get a Clayton Kershaw batting bobblehead courtesy of Pirelli Tire. Go to Dodgers.com/promotions. So now it's Joe Mauer. That's ball one. Mauer the big one because Miguel Sano waits on deck. By the way, you know who the winning pitcher would be if the Dodgers hang on to this? Edward Paredes in his major league debut. A couple of months shy of his 31st birthday. 2-0.
You know, I made a mistake reading the notes in the graphic. The record by Bellinger is 28 in the National League only, not MLB. The note reads in 80 MLB games, and I mistakenly thought that was in all of Major League Baseball. Just the National League.
3-0.
Still a significant accomplishment.
Yeah, that doesn't diminish it. Jansen trying to dial back in. 50-some strikeouts without a walk to start the year, but he's gone 3-0 on Mauer with Sano due next. That's a 4-pitch walk. And Miguel Sano comes up representing the tying run.
That's a cardinal error for any pitcher, but especially for a closer. Kenley working hard to make sure his natural cutter cutting right there and just pulling it inside.
It's only the third walk to go along with 62 strikeouts this year for Jansen in 42 innings. But it brings Sano up. '23 home runs this season. And a couple balls he hit today that he just missed. Strike one. Chink in the armor is that he leads the American League in strikeouts. Here comes an 0-1. Sano takes a slider for a ball. Dodgers trying to make it 34 wins in a 40-game stretch. Two and one. A lot of power, a lot of strikeouts, but many of the strikeouts from Sano, they say, come as a product of his patience. Takes a lot of deep counts. He's worked this one to 2-1, representing the tying run in the 9th inning. That's strike two. That is Polanco on deck. Jansen to Sano with a 2-2 pitch. He struck him out. And the Twins are down to their final out.
Kenley gets down the hill. The ball doesn't cut the way he wants, but it gets it by him.
And so Jorge Polanco will pinch hit. 1 for his last 32. The lone hit was a bunt single. Dodgers an out away from doing it again. Dramatic fashion. Ball 1 on Polanco. Well, Matt Adams, he is not, but does have the ability to hit it out. 3 home runs this season. Here comes a 1-0. That's strike 1.
A little added pressure right now for Kenley after blowing the save yesterday. I know it's almost a once-in-a-lifetime thing for him lately, but I'm sure he's putting a little bit more pressure on himself to get this 3rd out.
Bauer takes off on strike 2, and the Twins down to their last bullet. A 3-run home run from Cody Bellinger in the bottom of the 8th inning to put the Dodgers in front 6-4. And now Jansen a strike away. Fouled off.
Usually after a meeting like this, it's the slider. Kenley doesn't like to shake to it to give warning, so he likes usually a little discussion, and then you see a slider in the dirt. He's used it once in this inning so far, but it is definitely a pitch that he uses rarely.
I think we've seen him finish off a pretty solid handful of games on sliders this year. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Polanco. A cutter. It's pulled on a bounce to second. Forsythe has it, and the Dodgers have another drama-filled win. Cody Bellinger's 8th inning home run makes Edward Paredes the winner in his major league debut.
Congratulations, Edward. Kenley Jansen his 25th save, and Cody Bellinger his 28th home run. An exciting home win for the 42nd time.
Overall, the Dodgers 69-31 at the 100-game mark. That is the 2nd best mark in the National League in the divisional era through 100 games. Only the 1970 Cincinnati Reds were better, and they were just better by 1 game at 70-30. Alexis play of the game, pretty easy choice. Bellinger's 28th of the season. 1 pitch after he pulled it foul with home run distance. He adjusts and sends it out to center field. And the Dodgers take the series opener from Minnesota. Game 2 tomorrow night. Same place, same time. Jose Barrios for Minnesota. Kenta Maeda for the Dodgers. For Orl and Alana and the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying so long from Dodger Stadium. Access Sportsnet, brought to you by your Southern California Nissan dealers, begins now.